At the top of a tower in Tokyo, hidden above the offices and lights, 6 enormous pendulums wait in silence. They are not ornaments. They are not part of the public view. They are machines built for the moment when the ground begins to move. When an earthquake sends long waves through the city, these weights are designed to move against the tower itself. In a city where glass, steel, and concrete rise above one of the most active seismic regions on Earth, balance becomes a matter of survival. This is the hidden engineering story of the Shinjuku Mitsui Building and the massive counterweights that help keep it standing. Tokyo has never been a city that could ignore the earth beneath it. Long before the skyline reached upward, builders here learned that beauty and danger often shared the same ground. The islands of Japan sit near the meeting of tectonic plates, where pressure accumulates slowly and releases suddenly. For centuries, earthquakes shaped architecture, memory, ritual, and fear. But in the 20th century, Tokyo began to ask a dangerous question: how high can a seismic city climb? In Shinjuku, that question became visible in steel. The Shinjuku Mitsui Building was completed in the 1970s, during an era when Japan was rebuilding its image as a modern technological power. It rose with 55 floors, a landmark of a new vertical district on the western side of Shinjuku. Its dark facade and bold diagonal braces gave it a severe, almost armored presence among Tokyo's new towers. To the public, it looked like architecture. To engineers, it was also a structure negotiating with motion. Every tall building moves. Wind bends it slightly. Temperature changes it. Gravity loads it without mercy. During ordinary days, that motion is invisible to almost everyone inside. But under the wrong kind of earthquake, a skyscraper can begin to sway in a long, slow rhythm. That rhythm is called long-period ground motion, and it can travel far from an epicenter. It does not always shatter the tower. Sometimes, it does something more unsettling. It makes the building keep moving. On March 11, 2011, the Great East Japan earthquake changed how many people understood that danger. Even far from the hardest-hit regions, tall buildings in Tokyo experienced long, uncomfortable shaking. For people on upper floors, the fear was not only the first shock, it was the duration. A building can be structurally safe and still feel terrifying when its motion continues minute after minute. After 2011, the question was no longer only whether towers would stand. It was how they would behave while standing. The answer placed a hidden machine on the roof of the Shinjuku Mitsui Building. Mitsui Fudosan and Kajima developed a rooftop system of ultra-large tuned mass dampers. Together, the 6 units weigh roughly 1,800 tons. Each unit behaves like a carefully tuned pendulum, a weight suspended so that it can move when the tower moves. The principle sounds simple, but the execution is extraordinary. When the tower sways in one direction, the damper mass is tuned to move in a countering rhythm. That opposing movement absorbs energy that would otherwise remain in the building's frame. It is not magic. It is timing. A tuned mass damper works because every structure has natural frequencies, preferred rhythms in which it wants to move. If earthquake waves feed that rhythm, motion can grow. The hidden pendulums are designed to interrupt that growth. Instead of letting the tower keep swinging freely, the dampers pull energy into controlled motion. Then oil dampers convert part of that motion into heat, slowing the movement down. This is why the system is not just weight. It is weight, stroke, friction, fluid, and restraint. The challenge was not simply to make the pendulums heavy enough. Engineers also had to control how far those masses could travel during a large event. A damper that moves too far can become its own danger. So the Shinjuku system includes stroke control functions that limit movement while preserving the damping effect. In other words, the machine must be free enough to move, but disciplined enough to stop. That balance is the secret hidden above Shinjuku. Installing such a system on an existing skyscraper was a different kind of engineering problem. It is easier to design a damper into a new building from the beginning. Retrofitting a tower means working with what already exists: columns, beams, elevators, tenants, loads, and limits. The building could not simply be emptied, dismantled, and rebuilt from the top down. The solution had to protect the future without erasing the tower's past. That is what makes the Shinjuku Mitsui Building more than a skyscraper. It is a record of adaptation. Its original structure belonged to one era of seismic thinking. Its hidden rooftop pendulums belong to another. Between those eras lies the history of Tokyo, learning from each earthquake. For the viewer on the street, nothing dramatic announces the system. There is no giant sphere visible through an observation deck, no public spectacle of swinging steel. The most important machines in a city are often the ones almost nobody sees. Above the daily movement of workers, trains, elevators, and traffic, another movement is being prepared for. The pendulums wait for a frequency. They wait for the building to begin its slow conversation with the earth. And when that conversation starts, the dampers answer in the language of physics. They do not stop the earthquake. They do not make a skyscraper immovable. Instead, they reduce the motion, shorten the unease, and help the structure return to calm. That may be the true art of earthquake engineering, not defying nature, but negotiating with it. Tokyo's skyline is often seen as a symbol of speed, density, and light. But beneath that brightness is a quieter story of calculation and restraint. Every beam, brace, damper, and connection carries a lesson written by past earthquakes. The Shinjuku Mitsui Building carries those lessons visibly in its braced face and invisibly in its roof. It is both a monument of the 1970s and a machine upgraded for the century that followed. That dual identity gives the building its hidden drama. It shows how a city survives not by remaining unchanged, but by correcting itself. And it reminds us that the most advanced architecture is sometimes built around an ancient idea, a weight suspended in space, a rhythm set against another rhythm, a structure learning how to move so it does not fall. The hidden pendulums of Shinjuku are not only devices. They are a quiet confession that even the strongest towers must listen to the earth. And somewhere above the city, in the darkness behind the skyline, 6 massive weights continue to wait. Because in Tokyo, stability is not stillness. It is motion under control.